Today, we're recapping a 2025 action thriller movie titled The Amateur. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and brace yourself. The movie kicks off in a garage, where Charlie, our main guy, is deep into some mechanical foreplay with an airplane. A birthday gift from his wife, Sarah. Sarah walks in, right as he's elbow-deep in greasy fingering, just to remind him she's off again for another business conference in London. She gives him the usual offer to come along, the same lifeline she always throws. But Charlie turns it down like clockwork. He's got too much work, or at least that's what he tells her. Fast forward to Charlie pulling up at CIA headquarters like he owns stock in the building. And to be fair, he kinda does, since half the paranoid security scanners used there were literally developed by him. He breezes past his own custom-built security detectors, the same ones too dumb to catch the flaming trail of bad decisions trailing behind him. Finally, he settles into his seat at the decryption and analysis department. He's barely gotten comfy in his workspace when his computer pings. Classic Charlie. It's from Inquiline, his favorite anonymous shady pen pal, an informant who's been sliding him classified gossip for years like some digital sugar daddy. But today's drop isn't just another top-secret snack. This one's a full-course chaos meal. Inquiline warns him that the files in this batch aren't just juicy. They're explosive enough to blow the CIA's operation sky-high and leave the agency flatlined in the ICU. And as expected, Charlie doesn't even flinch. He dives straight in, risking it all for the biscuits. Charlie, ever the detective with a caffeine addiction, tries to guess Inquiline's hidey hole and mumbles Istanbul, like, is a casual Tuesday hunch, but Inquiline brushes it off like a crumb on a tailored suit and keeps things cryptic as usual. So he dives into the files, eyes twitching, brain doing acrobatics, but not even he can crack the code. After microwaving some sad excuse for lunch, Charlie's right back at it when his phone shrieks like it's being murdered. It's Sarah, announcing she's landed in London. But of course, Charlie already knew. He's been low-key tracking her like a bloodhound with Bluetooth, probably using one of his little spy toys, built out of paranoia and free time. Their call lasts shorter than a sneeze, because his mind is still shackled to the files, practically sweating bullets as he tries to decode the chaos burning a hole through his screen. Since his regular computer had the processing power of a potato running on vibes, Charlie hauled his tech baby to the restricted zone, a place where only the paranoid and the government-funded dare to plug in. After what felt like hours of digital foreplay and loading screens that mocked his sanity, the files finally spilled their guts. And what they revealed slapped him harder than the truth ever should. Buried in layers of classified garbage was one hell of a nightmare. A drone strike disguised as a self-deletion bombing. The kind of operation that gets spun into a neat little news segment, then quietly buried with a government wink. 150 people dead, including French Special Forces and Danish Marines, turned into red confetti. And the puppet master behind this carnage? Chief Moore, Charlie's own boss. The betrayal hit different. This was no longer some shadowy conspiracy theory with a tinfoil hat. This was personal. Moore had signed off on a massacre and wiped his hands like it was just another Tuesday memo. The next morning, Charlie dragged himself to work, like a man whose insides were still rearranging. And waiting for him, just to add salt to the trauma buffet, was his boss Moore. Calm as a corpse and twice as cold. He guided Charlie into the office of Director O'Brien, the freshly promoted overlord with that crisp new office energy. But there was no pleasantries, no coffee, no small talk. She dropped a bomb straight to the chest. There had been a terrorist attack at a hotel in London, and Sarah was one of the victims. Charlie's brain short-circuited. The words hit like bullets. He tried to protest, to scramble for his phone, to hear her voice, anything. But Moore, dead-eyed and grim, just turned on the TV and played the hotel security footage. The broadcast rolled like a horror movie. 4 terrorists storming a luxury hotel, taking 4 hostages, executing 2 like it was a game show finale. The grainy images confirmed Charlie's worst nightmare. Sarah, caught in the terrifying whirlwind, is indeed among the victims. His world shatters into a million tiny, sharp pieces. When Charlie gets home, it's a full-blown circus outside. Reporters swarming like hungry sharks, flashbulbs popping like crazy, and police trying to hold back the madness. A friend, a true hero in that moment, helps Charlie slip through the media frenzy and into the hollow shell of his house. The next day, Charlie, probably running on fumes and pure, unadulterated suspicion, confronts Moore and Supervisor Caleb. He can't wrap his head around it. How could these terrorists just waltz past thousands of security cameras in London, not to mention driving right into traffic without a hitch? Moore promises a full investigation, probably with a pat on the back that feels more like a shove. Caleb, meanwhile, just send him home, probably hoping he'll just go cry into a pint of ice cream. The following day, Charlie's at the airport, his heart heavy, to pick up Sarah's body and her belongings. Later, back in the quiet, desolate house, he opens her suitcase. Inside, tucked away like a cruel joke, is a gift Sarah had bought for him. That's it. That's the moment the dam breaks. He crumples, weeping like a giant baby, the kind of soul-crushing breakdown that leaves you hollow. But Charlie isn't one to stay down for long. Tired of the suffocating grief at home, he throws himself back into work like a man on a mission to ruin someone's life. Charlie heads straight to the restricted room of the CIA, dragging his emotional trauma and the overpowered government machine along for the ride. In minutes, he had it slicing through digital firewalls like a hot knife through smelly butter. He hacked into the hotel security feeds, then tapped into nearby street cams like he was binge-watching a mad recaps movies and TV shows. Frame by frame, second by second, he pieces together a timeline of events that's more detailed than a tax audit by the IRS. And when it was ready, he laid it all out for the higher-ups like a paranoid PowerPoint prophet. 4 terrorists. 1 stolen car from the East End. They slipped into the hotel's service entrance like shadows with a to-do list, leaving no prints, no hair, no DNA. These weren't amateurs. These were ghost-level professionals. Apparently, they were scheduled to meet with some folks from Impact Investments, a crew out of Indonesia with a name that screamed shady tax dodge scheme. But something went sideways. Voices were raised. Tension cracked the air. And when one of the firm's security guards puffed his chest a little too hard, one of the terrorists snapped, and probably with a cold, dead stare, opened fire, promoting one guard from living to dead and leaving the other seeking an extension for his daily subscription to life while bleeding diabetic blood all over the corridor tiles. The hotel security panicked like hamsters in a blender and called in the police for backup. As their sirens were en route, the terrorists had seconds. So they did what every chaos artists do best. Kick open the doors to the conference room and snatch the first warm bodies they could grab, turning the whole operation into an instant hostage situation. And Sarah? She was taken, because she was the kind of person who helped others. While everyone else bolted for safety, she turned around and tried to guide people out. And that's what got her caught. A hero move. The kind that breaks your heart, because it's exactly who she was. Charlie didn't stop there. Fueled by grief, caffeine, and the kind of rage that gives people superpowers in comic books, he pushed deeper. He ran voice analysis, facial mapping, dug into databases so locked down they probably needed blood offerings. And one by one, he identified them. The 4 walking disasters behind the hotel attack. First was Mishka, straight out of Moscow, with a dead-eyed stare of a man who's definitely waterboarded someone before breakfast. Then Lawrence, ex-South African Special Forces, built like a walking war crime. Horst, a German mercenary, so cold he probably shivers for fun. And finally, Gretchen, former intelligence officer and current nightmare in a pantsuit. This wasn't just a team. This was a murder-flavored Avengers lineup. The kind of squad that made seasoned agents sweat. Charlie laid it all out, rattling off names, faces, affiliations, practically handing the government a war crime buffet. But as he spoke, something fell off. He looked up, and there they were, Caleb and Moore, completely silent and still. No shock, no raised eyebrows, no curious what the hell are you talking about question. Just blank faces. Like he was reading from a script they'd already memorized. That's when the weight of it crashed onto his chest. They knew. They knew everything. The drone strike. The bodies. The cover-up. The assassins. All of it. And instead of sounding alarms or flipping tables, they gave him the most insulting response imaginable. We're already working on it, they said, like this was just paperwork and not his wife's blood on the floor. And just for extra psychological throat punches, they suggested he see a therapist. You know, because clearly the guy connecting all the right dots must be the crazy one. Charlie didn't scream. He didn't flip the table. But something inside him cracked, and it didn't crack quietly. The next day, Charlie went full rogue genius. He slipped a hidden chip inside his ID badge. Something small enough to dodge the scanner's peeping eyes, but dangerous enough to burn the whole agency down. He strolled through security like it was just another Tuesday, completely undetected. Once in his office, he printed all the classified files like a man ordering his own funeral, and with a little gadget magic, skimmed the digital guts straight off the printer. Files secured, evidence stolen, and trust completely obliterated. That night, he sat in a bar, dead-eyed, just staring at the jukebox like it owed him answers. No drinks, no distractions, just Charlie and the quiet hum of a man planning something massive. By morning, he was back in the office, and this time, not to ask questions. He confronted his superiors with the printed files in hand like they were receipts for war crimes. He laid it all bare. Moore's dirty resume of blood and betrayal. A Syrian hospital leveled like it was target practice. An Allied base in Yemen wiped off the map. Thousands of civilian deaths. And more? Still walking around like he didn't have entire graveyards under his name. Charlie didn't just threaten. He detonated a warning. He told them he'd set a dead man's switch. If he didn't punch in a code every 5 hours, the evidence would fly straight to every major news outlet like a nuke wrapped in headlines. And then came the kicker. He didn't want money. He wanted tools. Full CIA training. Fake passports. A gun. And names. He wanted the bastards who killed Sarah. After the meeting, Charlie barely made it to his car before stress puking into the void. Because, yeah, turns out playing chicken with the entire intelligence community does things to your stomach lining. Back inside, Moore called a bluff. Caleb wasn't so sure. He pointed out they couldn't risk calling it. If Charlie really had a trigger set up, one mistake would send them all to jail, or worse, to a CNN headline. Their plan? Stall him with training, then stage a deadly oops during combat practice. Meanwhile, Caleb's team started unraveling how the hell Charlie copied the files. A skimmer, maybe, something simple, but deadly effective. A regular computer wouldn't work, but a printer? That made sense. They reviewed security footage and confirmed Charlie had bought a magnetic strip from a local store. But how he snuck it in and out? Still a mystery. Then came a next breadcrumb. Charlie had visited a certain bar. Twice. Agents rolled in and tore the place apart until they found it. A suspicious ABBA CD tucked under the jukebox. When they selected it from the machine, nothing but static played. Just noise. They took the disc. The data was buried in sound. While they decrypted static and questioned their life choices, Charlie was already 2 steps ahead. He'd arrived at a CIA training facility, welcomed by Colonel Henderson, a man built like a fridge and with the empathy of a brick. They started at the shooting range, and surprise, Charlie sucked. Badly. He needed to be in kissing distance of the target to land a decent shot. But when it came to bombs, the man cooked them up like he was born in a TNT factory. Henderson was impressed, probably scared too. Then came identity training. Henderson pushed Charlie around like a crash test dummy, shouting questions while shoving him into walls, trying to beat his new cover story into his brain. Passports were printed. Fake names assigned. That night, Henderson visited Charlie's room. Told him, point blank, "You're not a killer." But Charlie insisted. He didn't want blood. He wanted justice. So Henderson gave him a gun. Told him to prove it. Charlie's hands trembled. His knees screamed. He aimed. He hesitated. And finally, he lowered the weapon. Still broken. Still human. Back at HQ, the agents cracked the CD. The dead man's switch? A bluff. No signal. No upload, and no auto-leak. They ran straight to their superiors, giddy with relief. But they didn't know Charlie was listening. As it turns out, that chip in his badge wasn't just for sneaking files. It was a live bug. He'd planted it on the very documents he gave them. A backdoor into every whisper they thought was private. Moore called Henderson immediately, barking orders to arrest Charlie. But Charlie was already gone. After the call, Moore finally spotted the bug in the paperwork. And that's when Charlie's voice came through, smug and traitorous. Moore screamed, "Treason!" Charlie tossed away his earpiece like yesterday's trash. Then he boarded a plane. In London, he passed through customs smooth as butter with a fake passport, so clean it practically winked at the scanners. But the CIA caught the hit. Moore sent Henderson after him. But it was too late. Charlie was already on a train to Paris, setting up camp in a hotel just a stone's throw from a restaurant where Gretchen, the walking trauma in heels, was known to haunt. Eventually, she appeared. Charlie tracked her phone, waited for the perfect window. Then, just like the world's most anxious raccoon, he waited outside her building. When a tenant came out, he slipped in, went upstairs, and using lockpicking tutorial from YouTube on his phone, he broke into her apartment. Inside, he snapped pics of her schedule, found a gun in a drawer, and decided it's his now. Suddenly his tracker pinged. Gretchen was coming back. Charlie bolted to the stairs and waited, hands shaking, breath shallow, and his heart doing drum solos. And when she walked in, he choked and couldn't pull the trigger. Disappointed in himself, Charlie returned to the hotel and collapsed into fantasy, pretending Sarah was waiting for him in bed, warm and alive. Eventually, he calmed down and checked the photos he took. And there it was. Hospital visits, frequent and repeated. Gretchen was hiding something. Something big. Charlie heads into full interrogation mode. He seals Gretchen inside a chamber and starts pumping in pollen like he's weaponizing springtime. She starts choking almost instantly. Turns out allergies don't mess around. Charlie tells her she can walk out if she gives up horse location, who's the one who shot Sarah, and Charlie's done playing nice. But the allergies are too strong. She can't speak. So he opens the chamber, but it's big mistake as Gretchen lunges at him, slams him into a desk, and the two start brawling like it's a scene out of Mission Impossible. They wreck the entire lab. Furniture's flying, diabetic blood is spilled, and Charlie pulls a gun. But she overpowers him, escapes, and bolts into the street. But before Charlie can even take the shot, she's hit by a car. An instant roadkill, sent straight to meet Satan. Shaken, Charlie grabs her phone and runs, ditching his smelly, blood-soaked lab coat like a scene out of Bad Dream. He cleans up, packs, and boards a night bus to Marseilles. News of Gretchen's death hits the CIA fast. O'Brien corners Moore, who casually blames it on one of their own operatives, like it's no big deal. Later that night, guilt eats Charlie alive, and he drowns it in alcohol at a bar, even hallucinating Sarah dancing. But it's not her, just someone who looks like her. Suddenly, Henderson shows up. Charlie panics, shoves through the crowd, and escapes to another bar. But Henderson's still on his tail. Charlie hides in the bathroom, but there's no way out, so he walks back out and joins Henderson at the bar like it's just another Tuesday. They chat, and then Charlie shows him a timer on his phone before bolting. Boom! The bathroom explodes. In the chaos, Charlie vanishes. And the tracker? Dead. He reaches out to Inquiline, his ghost contact, and hitches a ride on a cargo plane to Istanbul. There, he meets her in a coded rendezvous involving burner phones and shopping bags. She reveals her backstory. She became a hacker after her husband, the original Inquiline and CIA asset, was killed. Accidentally fell from a window, the official report said. Sure, they get to work. Horst is the Merc hiring boss. Lawrence is the arms dealer. And Mishka's the careless traveler who overshares online. They identify Mishka's location in Spain by stalking Instagram selfies. Meanwhile, Caleb's team watches the terrorists, hoping to trace Charlie. O'Brien confronts Moore about unauthorized black ops. He blows her off with the same speech he's given every boss before her. Typical. In Spain, Charlie checks into the same hotel as Mishka, who's known for swimming in the glass rooftop pool. He builds a rigged device in secret, planning to threaten Mishka into giving up Horst. As Mishka hits the pool, Charlie confronts him. Tell me where Horst is, or the pool breaks. Mishka laughs it off until Charlie hits the button. Cracks spider across the glass. Mishka panics and swims for his life. But it's too late. The pool shatters, dumping him onto the street below in a massive splash of death. Now exposed, Charlie gets a warning. Henderson and another CIA agent are closing in. He runs. The agents catch up in a laundry room, where an all-out brawl erupts. Henderson shoves a guy's head in a washing machine. Gunshots fly, but Henderson survives. Charlie almost steps in, but Inquiline screams in his ear to run for his shitty life. Meanwhile, O'Brien confronts Moore again. He lies and claims Charlie's on bereavement leave. But she has hotel surveillance footage. Caleb's team finally cracks Charlie's encrypted chats. They realize Inquiline is the widow of the original agent. Now they know who's helping him. That night, Charlie and Inquiline sleep side by side, just for comfort and no smelly cuddles. But the next morning, birds and intruders screech. Security feeds show agents closing in. The duo escapes through a hidden tunnel. A drone circles overhead. They sneak through nearby buildings, avoiding detection just as agents storm the house only to meet the files auto-deleted, leaving nothing left. The two flee to the beach and get into Inquiline's car, but the drone sees them. Soon, the agents catch up with Charlie and Inquiline, guns blazing. The chase escalates fast, even spilling onto the water as the agents pursue them by boat. Their car takes a beating, and a final hit causes it to stall. Inquiline is mortally wounded in the chaos and gets promoted to the afterlife. With no time to mourn, Charlie gently pushes her to the passenger seat, grips the wheel, and drives on, dodging bullets until he finally loses his pursuers. Later that night, he parks the car in a dark garage. He leans over, places a kiss on Inquiline's forehead, and whispers goodbye. The next day, Charlie contacts Lawrence, posing as an arms dealer to arrange a meeting. Before the meet, he picks up new electronics, then travels to Romania. Inside a crumbling, abandoned building, he records a fake message and hacks into a Berlin security feed, making the CIA believe he's there. It works. They scramble their agents to Berlin. Meanwhile, Lawrence arrives at the meet, only to find a chair with a ringing phone. He picks it up. Charlie's voice crackles through, asking him to look inside the box. Lawrence opens it. It's full of bombs. If he moves, they'll go off. Among the wires is a photo of Sarah. And that's when Charlie steps out of the shadows. He wants Horst and demands to know his location. Lawrence cracks like Humpty Dumpty and informs Charlie that Horst operates in Russian waters, receiving shipments at a Baltic seaport. Contact is only made through encrypted codes passed along by his men. All of it, names, numbers, is on Lawrence's phone. He tosses it to the ground. Charlie grabs the phone and walks away. Behind him, the bombs detonate, and Lawrence is sent to terrorize Satan in hell. The CIA soon learns about Lawrence's death promotion in Romania, and they realize the Berlin footage was a fake. Charlie had them chasing ghosts. Later, in a quiet Russian hotel room, Charlie opens a gift, a puzzle from Sarah. He solves it easily, revealing a heartfelt message from her. For a moment, it feels like she's right there with him. The next morning, Charlie spots a suspicious vehicle near the port. He sends Horst code and watches a man by the car check his phone. Bingo! Charlie follows him and snaps photos of his boat before slipping away. Back at the hotel, Charlie buys tools, tracks the boat's registration, and finds the yacht it belongs to. He studies Horst's sea routes, preparing for the final step. But when he returns the next morning, someone ambushes him. He's knocked out cold like frozen fish, and Sarah's puzzle drops from his hands. Charlie wakes up aboard the yacht, face to face with Horst at last. The man already found a bomb Charlie had planted earlier, and he's not impressed. Horst mocks Charlie for only killing from a distance, then hand him a gun. Do it, Horst dares him. But Charlie lowers the weapon, refusing to shoot. Suddenly, alarms blare. The yacht shifts course, turning sharply. The crew panics. Charlie smiles. He's already hacked the system. The yacht, which the CIA administered, is under his control. He developed its security protocols, so hijacking it was easy. As the vessel drifts into Finnish waters, warships close in. The Finnish Navy and Interpol swarm the yacht. Horst and his men are arrested without a fight. Sometime later, CIA Deputy Director O'Brien gives a public statement. All the rogue agents who misuse CIA resources have been caught. Justice has finally caught up. Charlie meets Henderson, who tells him he's proud. For the first time in a long while, Charlie breathes easy. He visits Sarah's grave, stands in silence, and then walks away. Back home, he takes the plane out for a ride, the one he never got to fly with her. And this time, he actually soars. That's it for this recap. Thanks for watching the Mad Recaps. Stay safe, enjoy your day, and see you in the next recap.